Why, hello there, and welcome back to Pomingalarna here at Wagga Wagga in New South Wales. But most importantly, welcome to the best green loop I've ever ridden. So better than the chain gang or whatever it is, a derby, better than the green loop at Bendigo. This is comprehensively my favourite green trail in all of Australia that I've ridden, simply because you can bring any family member to it and you're all going to have a good time. So this is a cross-country loop, roughly being 3 kilometers long, not much altitude, barely 20 meters I'd say. 20 meters worth of climbing across the entire loop. And most of the climbing you're going to be doing is in this first third. So I consider the trail to be split up into thirds, and they're divided by fire road crossing. So just because this is going to be a slightly long green guide, let's go with the beer recommendation first. Since we're in Wagga, the best brewery around, the recommendation from my wife, is the Shumat River Brewing Co. And they haven't been on the scene for long. I don't remember them being around when I was in university here. They've got some great range that's expanding more and more per the month. Their American Pale Ale is what I love the most. They've got a great red ale, and my wife's favourite, which is not mine, is their Fairy Floss Sour. So if you're a lover of Fairy Floss and you want to get people into craft beer nice and easily, it's a very approachable beer, except if you know you're not a fan of Fairy Floss like I am. So that's Shumat River Brewing Co. Available from many places around Wagga and even in Albury, where I was earlier today, riding at Nail Can Hill. Didn't get to do any GoPro guides, but we're here and we're riding. So the majority of this trail is going to be hard pack with some loose elements, plenty of tree roots along the way, but it's nothing drastically hard. If your family member or friend can ride up and down a gutter, the only thing is that this part here is a tiny bit of a tight squeeze at high speeds, but if they can ride up and down a street gutter, they're more than overqualified to ride this green loop here. This is pretty much the end of the first third. So we come out here and we go along this fire road. From time to time you'll notice painted arrows on the ground. That's because Wagga Mountain Bike Club has a great local race scene, and way back when I was in university and part of the club, they also held great enduro rounds. There even used to be a 12-hour enduro or a 24-hour enduro. Never got to race in that because I was a student, but the race scene is still well and truly alive here. And with many trails like this green loop and the Junior Burger Farm, there's one called the Rambo Loop. That's what we used to race the 1.5 and 3 hour enduros on. And their long 13-kilometer loop, there's plenty of racetrack choices for them to use for local club racing. So hats off to Wagga Mountain Bike Club as always for keeping regional racing pretty relevant here within the Riverina. So generally, just the second sector is where you get the most amount of your cross-country riding done. As we near the last fire road, so we're going to cross here where the arrow is, come into here, go right, watch out for the trees, as we duck on through, and this is the final sector. So this has the majority of the descending in it, and it's where your more skilled riders start to have fun, since there are berms, a few odd routes to give you a bit of a challenge, but again, incredibly approachable for learning riders. And I love how the canopy above you really closes in, so it's nice and shaded. A few tricky tree placements to keep you honest. And I've enjoyed riding this loop with any of the mountain bikes I've ever owned. Pretty much every single mountain bike I've had has been ridden out here. So my Mongoose Switchback, which I started out on, Titan, the Giant Stance, Warpath, the Trek Farley, Kaiju, the Karate Monkey, and now Jaeger. Now, if you go straight there, that continues on to a much wider loop, but as we go around that rocky sort of hook turn, we're heading back towards where we started. So it's a very, as the wind sort of picks up here, we go over this bridge, over this route, and that's essentially the loop done, except for a few open winding corners. But this is essentially the green loop at Pomingalarna. Again, a very enjoyable green grey cross-country loop. If you're in the area, bring your family or just do a few party laps here. And if you're of legal drinking age, gym at Brewing Co, find it around here locally. Until next time, keep riding and stay awesome.